What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully everyone is doing well and having a great day so far. It is time now for the Wednesday weather update for Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily weather update on all things weather for the United States, and sometimes we talk about weather headlines going on around the world. Our main focus here is giving you the outlook for the next 7 to 10 days, talking about tropical weather, severe weather, winter weather. Yes, we're starting to come in to that season. Of course, severe weather, that can happen any time of the year, and we will be talking about some severe weather in just a little bit. But first off, if you're new to my channel, subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and leave your comments down below. Alright, starting off with one weather headline today in the United States, this being in Louisiana. Flash flooding in Lafayette prompts road closures and school closures as well. So, yes, this is something that is relatively interesting. And, we oftentimes, when we talk about school closures, it's usually for snow. But, hey, if a lot of rain can fall in a short period of time and enough roads flood, schools have to be shut down for that as well because it is not safe to travel in flooded roadways. So this was in Louisiana. Now, taking a look here at this weather story from the Climate Prediction Center, and they are talking about a powerful system that is going to bring cold temperatures, high winds, and snow to areas east of the Rockies. Yes, we're looking at around November 21st to the 23rd. There could be a powerful system that sets up somewhere on the western side of the Great Lakes, and the back side of it, there could be heavy snows. In fact, some modeling projections are saying blizzard-like conditions are going to be possible in these areas that do see snow. I'll show you that on the models in just a little bit. Moving on now to the Storm Prediction Center. I said we had severe weather to talk about. We actually have two severe weather threats to talk about. One being right here in Louisiana, where we do have this slight risk that is up for portions of Louisiana and southern Mississippi. There already was a tornado warning in this earlier. Tornado percentage probabilities is 2%, and there is even a small 5% area. 5% for wind, and hail is also not really much of a big deal today. And there is also 5% for wind on the west coast from Northern California on up into portions of Oregon and Washington. But that's not the only severe weather threat we have to talk about. There will also be a severe weather threat next week, which I will show you on the models in just a little bit. Taking a look now at the fire weather forecasting, we can see east of Baltimore all the way up to the Boston area, there is the elevated risk of wildfires. Of course, there are still wildfires ongoing in portions of New Jersey. That risk should subside a little bit tomorrow as the winds will die down somewhat. Taking a look at the national satellite picture, we can see here there is a large area of cloud cover in the midsection of the country. We do have a storm system coming on shore in the west coast, and in between, quiet weather. Taking a look at the national radar picture, we can see there's a decent slug of moisture headed towards Mississippi, Alabama. I mean, this is well-needed rainfall for you. Kentucky, portions of Indiana, Illinois, you saw some rain today. It's going to move into the Ohio Valley, but unfortunately, this will really collapse and get suppressed southward. It's not going to make it to places like Philadelphia or New York. You're not going to see anything out of this at all because there is a blocking pattern that has set up around here east of New England, and that is going to suppress the storm system. However, folks in the Carolinas, like North Carolina and Virginia, get ready. You could see a sizable rainfall amount come tomorrow. Taking a look now at the west coast, we can see here large storm system coming on shore with plenty of moisture, generally from north of San Francisco right on up to the Canadian border and beyond. Heavy rainfall and even mountain snows is a thing with this system. Taking a look now at the national hazards map, we can see red flag warnings up for portions of Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and the rest of the country is pretty quiet with exceptions to the west coast, where we do have winter storm warnings out for portions of Washington State. We also do have wind advisories and high wind warnings. So yes, this is a very large system that's coming on the west coast. All right, here's something else we have to talk about. This is brand new. This just happened right before I started recording this video. As of today, Wednesday, on the 4 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, today being November 13th, there is now potential tropical cyclone 19 that is in the Caribbean. And take a look at this. It is currently 30-mile-per-hour winds, 1007 millipar is the minimum pressure, and its movement is west at 6 miles per hour. Taking a look at the forecast track for this, it is expected to become a depression as early as tomorrow, and then it will gain the name Tropical Storm Sara as we head into Saturday and on Friday. So, yes, we're going to be talking about this through the weekend, and you can see on the peninsula, the Yucatan Peninsula, somewhere between there and Belize, it is going to make landfall. As of right now, expected to be a tropical storm, and then from there, yes, it could make its way into the Gulf of Mexico. We talked about this yesterday, but there have been some changes in the model. There's been a little bit more of a wider range as to how strong this storm system could get. Let me explain. First off, here's the hurricane model tracks. We can see many of these tropical guidance plots don't really get this going after it does that little bit of a dance or a stall, and then some do continue it over Yucatan Peninsula and straight into the Gulf of Mexico. And yes, it is going to develop, but the question is, how strong is it going to get? And will it even survive by the time it gets to Mexico? Because you can see here, some models say no. The majority do say yes, it will survive. And take a look at this now. Intensity guidance. You're seeing a wide range here, anywhere from tropical storm all the way up to even a few members showing a Category 2 hurricane. Right now, I think the best bet, or the safest bet, would be to take somewhere in the middle route. That's usually what works out. But again, until we have hurricane hunter data, until the hurricane hunters investigate this, until it actually becomes a tropical depression or named storm, I don't think we're going to get a good handle on how strong this could be. But I do want to remind you of something. We are now in mid-November. This is not summertime where the waters are as warm as they would be, say, early September or late August. So how strong this can get could be limited, but hey, there is potential this could become a hurricane. And let's take a quick look at how this looks over the past few hours, and you can see here there is definitely more convection with this system today, which is why I do think, at least by some point tomorrow, it probably will become a tropical depression. Now taking a look at the modeling guidance, and we'll use the European here. The European is relatively interesting, because you can see here, by the time we get to Friday, we got a tropical storm system. And we can see this kind of stalls for a while, all the way from Friday into about Sunday, and then finally starts to push west. It makes its little move over Mexico, then it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. And on the European, it does strengthen a little bit over Gulf of Mexico and actually tracks further north than what the models were showing yesterday. Yes, it goes north of Tampa Bay, Florida. So Florida, I would pay attention to this system because it is going to make that curve in the Gulf of Mexico. It has to, because you have this deep trough that is coming into the central U.S., and that is going to force the storm system to go east. So yes, this is a new development now. It can get further north potentially, but it will definitely push to the east. Now let's take a look at the GFS, and we will use the 12Z GFS run. The 18Z run is still coming in at this time, and we can see on the GFS it does get to a rather impressive tropical storm before it does weaken some. Then it pushes to the west, but look what happens when it goes into the Gulf. Much weaker storm system today on the GFS than what we were seeing on previous runs. Here's previous runs. You can see GFS was showing a pretty powerful hurricane heading towards Florida. But look what happened on the 12Z run. Much weaker and much more south than the European. There's only one way to help us fix this mess, and that is, let's turn to the ensembles and see what they say. So first off, the GEFS ensembles, and we will use the multi-members here, and we can see on the GEFS ensembles, this is the 18Z run, we want the 12Z run. You can see on the ensembles that it does develop, and it does do its little dance, stall, and makes its way into the Gulf of Mexico. But you can see on the GEFS, again, we're seeing these differences from the European products, where this does stay more south, but you do see some stronger members on the GEFS. And this is a pretty drastic shift south from its previous runs. Now, when we go to the European model, you will see that the European does keep it intact more north, and take a look at this. Let's advance this, and you can see here, it does remain more impressive as it goes over Mexico, and then I have to change this to the precipitation because for some reason it's not showing all the members beyond that point. But when you take a look at the precipitation, look at this. I mean, this is 180 hours out. We're talking about next Thursday, potentially, when this would go over Florida. And yeah, there's a strong signal here for precipitation going over central to northern Florida, which means it's suggesting that there will be a strong tropical storm to maybe even a hurricane potentially going over Florida, which is different from the GFS. So this is a model war that we're going to have to keep watching. Of course, right now it just became potential tropical cyclone. Tomorrow it'll become a depression. And then on Friday it will likely be Tropical Storm Sara. And then over the weekend it will go over Mexico later part of the weekend, into the Gulf early next week, and if there's any impact to Florida, we're looking at the very earliest late next Wednesday and beyond. A lot will depend how long it stays stuck, really, east of Mexico before it goes over Mexico. If it goes over Mexico faster, well, then we could be seeing impacts to Florida sooner. But one thing that is certain, it will get pushed east in the Gulf of Mexico because of that trough that is going to come down from the United States. All right, moving on now to taking a look at what's going on with the Weather Prediction Center over the next 1 through 7 days. You can see they're already forecasting heavy precipitation amounts for Florida. No matter what happens with this, even if it is not a impressive tropical system as it heads towards Florida, there will be rainfall because some of that energy and lifting from that trough will enhance the rainfall amounts over Florida. You also see over North Carolina and Virginia, there is going to be higher rainfall amounts. A lot of that coming from what is going to happen tomorrow into tomorrow night. And you can see in the midsections of the country, high precipitation. I'll show you that on the models in just a moment. And of course, we continue to see high rainfall amounts and precipitation amounts in the Pacific Northwest as the parade of storage systems continues for you. We will get an update on the drought conditions tomorrow, so not going to look at that today. Taking a look at the latest NAM model, we can see here comes that storm system that is going to develop for portions of North Carolina and Virginia, and it will develop a rather decent area of low pressure. There'll be some wind around us, may even be a couple high tide cycles that'll be higher than normal, and you could see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Locally, 3 inches of rainfall where any banding sets up with this area of low pressure. Take a look at Maine. Yes, there is a low that actually retrogrades west for you. Some rain showers, maybe even a few sleet pellets are possible for you. This is part of a blocking NAO that is setting up, which is why the other system gets forced to the south. And as I continue to advance this, you can see as we head towards Saturday evening, yet another system for Washington, Oregon, and maybe even portions of northern California. Now taking a look at the GFS as we head into next week, and there's a couple things I do want to show you here. First off, here's that next system that comes in on the west coast. Keep your eyes on that system. Some of that energy will transfer to this down in Texas and Oklahoma. Been talking about it for several days. There could be severe weather for you next Monday evening. Isolated tornadoes, more so a wind and hail threat, but hey, a few tornado warnings cannot be ruled out. Is it going to be the biggest tornado outbreak ever? No, but I definitely think it'll probably be SPC, Storm Prediction Center, slight risk worthy. Then all eyes turn to this on Tuesday. That area of low pressure really gets going as it heads into the Great Lakes, and the moisture well to the south of it. It's not going to be a whole lot of moisture, but watch what happens as this heads into the Great Lakes. If you're in Minnesota, yeah, that's snow for you. And it could be significant snows. In fact, it could be really windy, cold, maybe near blizzard-like conditions. It's not just the GFS showing this. The European model is showing this as well. And behind that, look what happens. Really windy conditions. Like if you're in Chicago, say next Wednesday, your city's going to be living up to its name, the Windy City. It's going to be very windy, even some snow showers. And this goes for all the Great Lakes region. Next Wednesday, next Thursday, lake effect snow showers will occur. And this is that big trough that's going to help push Sara to the east. Look at this. This cold really locks into the east for multiple days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even the following Monday. Yes, we're going to be talking about some of the coldest air of the season in the east, and there is agreement for this to happen on the European. Quick note about the European. Take a look right here. It now goes out to 360 hours. That's new as of today. they have now upgraded the European to go out to 360 hours. Trust me, anything over 200 hours, take with a grain of salt, let alone over 300 hours, which is even more unreliable at this time. All right, here's that severe storm threat that we're watching for next Monday. Yes, more significant on the Euro than the GFS. And you can see here, there will be severe storms with this. Isolated tornadoes, wind, hail threat. But then watch what happens. This will probably be the bigger story. The fact that the European's a little bit more to the west, it is showing that there could potentially be blizzard-like conditions in the Dakotas, maybe even down to Nebraska, as this system really gets going and pulls in really cold air from Canada. Incidentally, take a look down in Florida. Here's the European for Sara. Yeah, you can see the European itself is rather impressive as this goes over Florida, and eventually that will get pushed east by this trough, but hey, we're going to have to continue to watch what that does. We can see here the European also tries to develop some sort of a system to the east of this trough along the east coast, but eventually the cold air will win out. That will get pushed out to the east. All right, real quickly, Climate Prediction Center. Taking a look here in the Mid-South. Below average temperatures for you on a 6 to 10 day outlook. Above average in the east, near normal in the west, and in between. Precipitation. Looking over the Great Lakes, above average, because you're going to see that storm system that sets up. And of course, the reason why Florida is above average is because what could happen with Sara down the line. Taking a look here, below average precipitation on the west coast, 8 to 14 day outlook. Below average in the south, above average in the west, and just slightly above average in the northeast. Eventually that will get erased because of the colder weather that's going to move in. Slightly above average precipitation from the Midwest into the northeast. In the southeast and Florida, slightly above average. Below average precipitation in Texas, and above average precipitation on the west coast. Alrighty folks, that's all for today. We will have another weather update tomorrow with the latest on what will potentially be Sara. It'll probably be a depression at this time tomorrow. And then the severe weather next week. And of course the potential blizzard for the northern plains and upper Midwest. We have to fine-tune where that low is going to set up. Lots to watch over the next several days. And of course we'll have new drought information tomorrow. As well as we know, many parts of the United States, from the west coast all the way to the east coast, are dealing with really bad drought conditions at this time. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Want to see more content like this? Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. If I just included a place where you or someone you know lives, share this with them and tell them to subscribe to my channel. I promise to keep them informed. And of course, leave your comments down below, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. I will see you all again tomorrow. Until I see you again tomorrow, have a fantastic Wednesday evening, and if you're dealing with a storm system, stay safe.